Check this out. Give me some volume on this.
In the summer 2015, a tiny homeless man confessed his shocking life story to me, and then only a week later he'd be killed. My name's David Usick. I'm a retired police officer. I worked in the city of Aventura, and I became friends with a homeless man named Richard Flaherty. Richard was only 4'9", 97 pounds. Tried to get him some help, tried to get him off the streets, but he didn't meet the criteria of someone that we can force into a shelter, and we ended up just becoming friends. We'd meet up for coffee and lunch, and I didn't press him on his background, and I didn't press him too much on getting into a shelter because I kind of felt like that's the reason why he talked to me, and he trusted me. We had some great talks about the world and politics and life. So in the summer of 2015, he decided to tell me his life story. He just said, "Dave, it's time." So I was nervous at the time because as a cop, you're always expecting the worst. Is he wanted? What is he going to tell me? So he said, I was the smallest man to ever serve in the U.S. military. I became an officer in the Army, a Green Beret captain in Special Forces. I served in Vietnam with the 101st Airborne and the 3rd Special Forces Group. They were based out of Thailand, and they were doing some missions into Cambodia and Burma. First thing I asked him is, well, how could you even get into the military? And he said that it took him 3 years of letter writing to obtain medical waivers to allow him just into basic. But he said he knew they didn't believe he'd even make it through basic. And that's what they told him. That's what the instructors told him. And the equipment was too big for him. Nothing fit. His leg length was so short that he had trouble. When they would do those long marches, he carried a backpack. He was 97 pounds, but he carried a backpack or rucksack. It's probably about 60 or 70 pounds. So it's pretty remarkable. He jumped out of airplanes, and they used to have to strap extra weights onto him to help his descent. Otherwise, he'd just float off and hang out in the air too long. When he was with the 101st Airborne, one of his first tests as a platoon leader was during the Tet Offensive. He was there maybe a couple of weeks, and then the Tet Offensive started in 1968, and his unit was sent to the outskirts of Hue. So that's where he got battle tested. From there, he went back to the U.S., went to Special Forces School with the 3rd Special Forces Group. At the end of his 2 tours, he had Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars, and 2 Purple Hearts, among a whole bunch of other medals and commendations he received. He was forced out of the military in a thing called the RIF, the Reduction of Force. I guess this was 1971-72. The government was downsizing the military, and the first guys who get the boot are the officers. So they would make his life miserable, make him pick up garbage. They wouldn't renew his contract, and eventually, he wanted to spend his life in the military. Disappointingly, he left. He went into kind of the murky world of private contract work, military contract work, working as an advisor in Rhodesia and some other countries in Africa. At that point in time, he started getting picked up as a private contractor by the CIA to just do some other missions. All those things were true. I investigated all those things. I found witnesses to corroborate his stories, and sadly he got killed a week later. When he was telling me the story that he wants me to try to get his cautionary tale out to the world, his thought was he really wanted to explain the importance of the transition from war back into civilian life. So he kind of wanted me to use his story as a cautionary tale for the next guys. Obviously with the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War, that's something he was interested in helping. At that time, I thought I was going to just, collect the information and then find a real documentary filmmaker or writer to handle it. I didn't know Richard was going to be killed, and I didn't know nobody wanted to help me with the project. So I did it on my own, did the best I could to tell his life story. I made a promise to the man I'll get it out to the world, and this is Richard's life story.